Welcome to Street Politics. My name is Reese Waters. Now, as I have very well documented, Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett has ascended to prominence, and I mean front seat in the Democratic Party.
And let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it this far as it relates to this committee. In every single hearing, y'all spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth.
And with good reason. She tells it like it is, and she quite frankly expresses from the House exactly what I'm expressing and thinking from my house.
It was hitting me a little differently as a black woman sitting here, because it almost seemed as if you either get diversity or you get qualifications. It did not seem as if my colleague understood that someone can be diverse and qualified. And it is why you have people like me that get very frustrated, not just in the halls of Congress, but in general in this country. Because as I'm sitting here, and there seemed to be this question of you're either diverse or you're qualified, all I could think about was the fact that I currently hold an honorary doctorate. I also hold a Juris Doctorate. I also hold a bachelor's. I also technically hold the rank of Lieutenant Colonel in the Civil Air Patrol, and I actually practiced law for almost 2 decades, in addition to serving on various boards, in addition to being a prior state lawmaker. And there are those that would make some people believe that because I happen to be black and or a woman, that somehow, even though I can rattle off all the qualifications in the world, my blackness makes me unqualified. Bleach blonde, bad built, butch body.
She most recently took to The View to give a little bit more insight into her perspective.
So Which was the point of you calling that out, though, because that was the rule in that room, that they should have stopped her.
Correct. So the thing was, Comer was given an opportunity to decide how he was going to conduct hearings going forward. Right. The reality is that there can be a complete devolution of this process, or you can get it under control. Unfortunately, there has been this situation with Marjorie where she is a bully, and no one ever responds. And so the idea was she would just get away with it again. And for me, correct, she basically just mimics Trump. And because she mimics Trump, she is one of their top fundraisers, of course, period.
Okay, listen to what Jasmine Crockett is saying. She just asserted you set the rules of engagement. We came in with an understanding of certain rules of engagement, and you have changed those rules of engagement by virtue of your lack of oversight and lack of checking of Marjorie Taylor Greene, amongst others, quite frankly. So now that the rules of engagement have changed, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. In other words, is this the smoke you want?
There has been this situation with Marjorie where she is a bully, and no one ever responds. And so the idea was she would just get away with it again. And for me, correct, she basically just mimics Trump.
And we see something we've heard before, which is the sycophants in the Freedom Caucus and the MAGA crowd mimicking Trump. We've seen it with Kristi Noem, caught out in 4K with assertions about Kim Jong-un just outright refusing to admit that it wasn't true. Caught in 4K. She still refused to admit it wasn't true, supposedly a book that she wrote. That is downright Trumpian. Here you have Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is legislating by virtue of her Twitter account, and knowing that the more outrageous she acts, the more outrageous she behaves, the more attention she gets, and the more money she's able to raise, which is another thing to keep in mind. The fundraising. We've seen that time after time after time after time. For goodness sakes, Lauren Boebert is fundraising off of Beetlejuice. For goodness sake, she just fundraised off of getting everybody to turn their back on her when she showed up at Trump's trial for a PR stunt, something I documented right here on this very own channel. There is nothing so outrageous that they won't find a way to try and make some money off it. So if that's what we're doing, well, that's what we're doing.
And because she mimics Trump, she is one of their top fundraisers, of course. Period. She is the 5th highest fundraising member of the Republican Party, behind those in leadership, because she is rewarded for her antics.
The mindset that it takes to give, not because of good policy, not because they want to support somebody in the hard work they're undertaking in order to make America a great place, but because they acted so extravagantly that they own the libs. That's the kind of thing that's getting people to take money out of their wallets, out of their pockets. The same people that will fix their fingers to call Jasmine Crockett a DEI representative will give money to Marjorie Taylor Greene, whose qualifications involve chin-ups. And that thing with the chef.
Yeah. These are people that not only were saying on January 6th, let's literally physically tear down the institution, but we have people that are tearing our institution apart from within. And that is a problem. And see, the thing is, it's not about partisanship at all.
There you have a very key point. When you have these knuckleheads that showed up on the mall, able to actually infiltrate Congress thanks to their gerrymandered districts, they are able to enact the same plan and engage in the same behaviors from inside our government. And tell me that Marjorie Taylor Greene and her behavior wouldn't have been right at home on the lawn on January 6th.
I will work with anybody that wants to make this a better country, and we don't have to agree on everything. But where we can find common ground, let's get to work and stop doing this ridiculousness.
That is an interesting thought. We don't have to agree on everything, but let's get to work to try and make America a great place. That is an interesting approach to legislating, because I wonder what would be the approach on the opposite side of the aisle towards somebody who you disagree with.
Just we're the nicey nice guys, and we want to be friends with all the Democrats, and we want to be able to, hey guys, we'll give you this one, and you give us that one, and we'll pass your bill if you pass our bill, and then we'll all go and have drinks together later on. And that is not where we are in this country. Not at all, and the American people know it, and that's why they're so angry and so upset. So that was my one and only time listening to Frank Luntz, and I thought, I don't think I'll ever do one of these sessions again.
So you have fundraised off of merchandise around this, and you've gotten some pushback from people saying, you know, are we just lowering the institution if we're both kind of playing into this? How do you respond to that?
Kind of like the audience just did. Listen, here's the deal. There are people such as Trump that want to peddle Bibles, peddle gym shoes, peddle whatever it is, and anything that he can sell, he's going to sell it. And he's not doing it for his party. He's doing it for self. So what she meant for evil, in my opinion, God meant for good. And so that's what I was going to do in that moment.
Now I'll be dead real with you. It is lowering the office. It is lowering. Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around it. But it's not so much as lowering the office as joining the office where it currently sits. Because as she has already outlined, office been lowered. Office has been lowered. And for far too long, the Democrats have been ignoring that fact and acting like they're operating within this system from decades ago that is still as esteemed and respected as it was before it was darkened by MAGA. This is a very famous restaurant. In fact, a lot of former presidents used to eat here. Oh yeah? What you got to say about the 3 rat notices sitting in the window, huh? Huh? You gonna go off how it used to be decades ago, or the fact that they just got shut down Saturday?
When I set out to do the trademark, that is not personally done. It's done under the campaign. It was because there was a demand. I'm a business major who also is a lawyer. So the two things came together, right? Yeah. So this is about making sure that we can raise the monies. It's so that I can help save our democracy. My money goes to frontliners, people that are in fights to make sure that we can take the House. We've seen that the House has been run like a circus. We need Hakeem Jeffries as the Speaker of the House. And so if they lose the House, I'm just go ahead and blame it on Marjorie.
And as will I, for all the work that Marjorie Taylor Greene has put into destroying the GOP's functionality. That is why she is the secret agent, Capitol Hill Karen. She even had a few words for Bob Costello in his testimony in Trump's hush money trial.
They had Costello on the stand, and Costello had just come before my weaponization committee, and I didn't like him then. And so he was like the last person that they pulled together to testify. He was the guy that was trying to say that he was Michael Cohen's attorney, and basically they got into this back and forth trying to prove that he was really his lawyer and this kind of stuff. And I was like, well, where's the retainer agreement? Everybody knows there has to be a retainer. And then
you don't work for free.
Right. And who brought out the retainer agreement? The state. Yeah. And so the prosecutor was like, here it is. Ain't nobody signed it, though. I'm like, boy, like, why did y'all put this boy on? I mean, literally, like, it was just like, okay, so y'all are really bad. But, like, what good attorney is going to go work for Trump at this point? Not anybody that wants to.
He doesn't pay people.
He doesn't pay, and you lose your license and or go to prison.
Oh, you lose your license and go to prison for free. That is a different kind of pro bono. That is a pro boned. That's what I call that. She did kind of hurt my heart though when she asked why did they put this boy on, because it reminds me of a number of my stand-up performances, especially during my early years. In fact, it was said exactly in that voice. Was it Jasmine Crockett booing me?